The BFG, titled on screen as Roald Dahl's The BFG Big Friendly Giant, is a 2016 fantasy adventure film directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Melissa Matheson, and based on the 1982 novel. The film stars Mark Rylance, Ruby Barnhill, Penelope Wilton, Jemaine Clement, Rebecca Hall, Rafe Spall, and Bill Hader. In the film, a 10-year-old orphaned girl named Sophie befriends a benevolent giant and helps him to deal with some man-eating giants. Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall began development on a live-action adaptation of the BFG in the 1990s, and various screenwriters were hired to work on the screenplay in the subsequent years. DreamWorks acquired the screen rights to Dahl's book in September 2011, and Spielberg was announced as director in April 2014. Principal photography commenced in March 2015. The BFG premiered at the Cannes Film Festival on May 14, 2016, and debuted in North America at the El Capitan Theater on June 21, 2016. The film was released in the United States on July 1, 2016, the same year of Dahl's centennial. It received generally positive reviews from critics, and was a box office disappointment, grossing $195 million against its $140 million budget. It was the last film penned by Matheson before her death in 2015, and was dedicated to her. Plot. One night, Sophie, a smart and brave 10-year-old girl living in a London orphanage, catches sight of an elderly giant. The giant captures her and takes her to his residence in Giant Country. He tells Sophie that he took her so that she would never reveal the existence of giants to anyone. The giant creates a nightmare to prevent her from escaping, fearing she might be eaten by larger giants. The next morning, Sophie is nearly discovered by Fleshlampeter, the leader of the man-eating giants, but the elderly giant drives Fleshlampeter away with a foul vegetable known as the snozcumber. She persuades the elderly giant to take her to Dream Country. They accidentally awaken the other giants, and after Blood Bottler suggests they frolic, they bully the friendly giant. A thunderstorm drives the man-eating giants into their cave, but Fleshlampeter finds Sophie's blanket. In Dream Country, Sophie and the friendly giant catch good and bad dreams. The giant reveals that his only name, besides Runt, the other giant's nickname for him, is the Big Friendly Giant, which leads Sophie to call him BFG. She accompanies him to London for his nightly work, using his dream trumpet to spread good dreams to sleeping children. They return to Giant Country just as the other giants have departed to go eat children worldwide. The BFG realizes that Sophie has lost her blanket, exposing her presence to the other giants, and leaves her outside her orphanage. Revealing that his last human companion liked to read, and even taught the BFG how to read, but sadly was discovered and eaten by the giants, he is unwilling to endanger Sophie and departs. Unafraid, Sophie jumps off her balcony hoping he will appear again to catch her, and he does. They return to the BFG's workshop and the other giants barge in, hunting for Sophie. They destroy much of the BFG's work, but Sophie evades detection and the BFG drives them off with a hot iron. Sophie finds the home of the last human to live with the BFG, with a portrait of Queen Victoria among his belongings. This inspires her to devise a plan, to forge a nightmare for Elizabeth II, the Queen of the United Kingdom, about giants eating the children of England, the British Army fighting the giants, and Sophie appearing to her. Sophie and the BFG go to Buckingham Palace and deliver the nightmare to the sleeping Queen. Upon waking, the Queen and members of her maid Mary and butler Mr. Tibbs find Sophie on the windowsill. She introduces them to the BFG, explaining that the child-eating giants are real and must be stopped. At a large breakfast, the BFG shares his favorite drink, flatulence-inducing Frupskittle, and he and Sophie lead the Queen's soldiers to Giant Country. The BFG plans to ambush the man-eating giants with a nightmare but has forgotten his dream trumpet. Sophie carries the nightmare herself into the midst of the giants and is confronted by Fleshlampeter. She releases the nightmare, which consumes the giants with guilt, except the Fleshlampeter, who intercepts and destroys his, and they are caught by military helicopters. Carried away to an isolated island, the giants are left with only Snozcumber seeds to plant. Sophie gets adopted by Mary, comes to live in the Queen's palace, and awakens from a dream of the BFG, who returns to his life in giant country and writes the story of their adventure. She speaks to him whenever she feels lonely. At his home, the BFG hears her words and smiles. Cast: Mark Rylance as the voice and motion capture of Big Friendly Giant, BFG, an elderly, benevolent 24-foot giant. He is called Runt by the other giants. 9. Ruby Barnhill as Sophie, an orphan who befriends the BFG. 10. Dahl named her after his own mother, who was similarly caring and determined. Lucia Ryan serves as Sophie's understudy in some scenes. Penelope Wilton as Queen Elizabeth II, the Queen of the United Kingdom. 11. Jemaine Clement as the voice and motion capture of Fleshlampeter, a 54-foot giant who is the de facto leader of the man-eating giants, who wears a cape and a skirt-like covering. He shows no regret for consuming children over the years. 11. Rebecca Hall as Mary, Queen Elizabeth's maid and Sophie's adoptive mother. 11. Rafe Spall as Mr. Tibbs, Queen Elizabeth's butler. 12. Bill Hader as the voice and motion capture of Blood Bottler, a disheveled 43-foot man-eating giant with cowlick hair and a skirt-like covering, who is Fleshlampeter's advisor and the most intelligent of the group. 13. Michael Adam Thwaite as the voice and motion capture of Butcher Boy, a chubby, immature man-eating giant who is the youngest of the group. He collects cars and wears clothes made of circus tents. 11. A Danish driver. Daniel Bacon as the voice and motion capture of Bone Cruncher, a dark-skinned, bald-headed man-eating giant wearing short pants-like clothing and a necklace of metal items. As the name suggests, he loves to crunch on the bones of his victims like candy. It's said he can be heard crunching bones for miles. 11. The second drunken lout that Sophie shouts at. Chris Gibbs as the voice and motion capture of Gizzard Gulper, a burly, bearded 39-foot man-eating giant who wears a helmet, a shoulder pad, and pants and is the shortest of the group. 11. A late night walker. Adam Godley as the voice and motion capture of Manhugger, a very tall and slim man-eating giant who wears a vest and shorts. He seems to be the laziest of them all. 11. The first drunken lout that Sophie shouts at. Paul Moniz de S.A. as the voice and motion capture of Meat Dripper, a well-groomed man-eating giant with red mohawk hair. He also is the most serious about hunting in the group, clearly more determined than the rest to find Sophie. He doesn't wear a shirt and has red shorts. 11. The third drunken lout that Sophie shouts at. Jonathan Holmes as the voice and motion capture of Child Chewer, a balding man-eating giant in a goatee who is Meat Dripper's best friend who wears a skirt-like covering. He obviously enjoys Human Child the most out of the giants. 11. A pub landlord. Olafur Dari Olafsson as the voice and motion capture of Maid Masher, a small-headed and fashionable man-eating giant. He has short thin hair, and as the name suggests, likes to mash maidens, which is never expanded on. 11. Queen Elizabeth II's cook. Marilyn Norrie as Mrs. Clonkers, the head of the orphanage where Sophie was living. Callum C. Graham Early as a Danish boy. Haig Sutherland as the Danish boy's father. Shauna Hansen as the Danish boy's mother. Denise Jones as the wife of the Danish driver. Anthony F. Ingram as a Buckingham Palace footman. Gabrielle Rose as a female cook that works for Queen Elizabeth II. Matt Frewer, Chris Shields, and Jeffrey Wade as the Queen's generals. John Emmett Tracy, William Samples, Andy Thompson, and Ruby Barnhill's father Paul Barnhill as the assorted Buckingham Palace footman. Lucia Ryan as Orphan Girl No. 1. Julia Torrance as Orphan Girl No. 2. Cal Davis, Kyle Maloney, Michael McLeod, David Orr, Zachary Red, David Glover, and Joshua Collegan as the pipers. Todd Bifford as the piper drummer. Randy Rafusi as a helicopter pilot. Production. Development. Producers Frank Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy began development on a live-action adaptation of the BFG in 1991, and set the project up at Paramount Pictures. 14 husband and wife screenwriters Robin Swickard and Nicholas Kazan wrote a screenplay adaptation in 1998, with Robin Williams in negotiations for the title role. 15-16-17 Williams attended a read-through, which according to Michael Siegel was surprisingly disappointing. 18 Williams' trademark improvisational style clashed with the BFG's unique language. 18 Siegel elaborates, he was sort of improvising on the jumbled language. And it was clunky. It was strangely not working. It was harder than it looks even for Robin. It didn't quite deliver. 18. By 2001, the script had been rewritten by Gwyn Lurie, and was greeted with positive feedback from the Dahl estate. 19 Terry Jones and Ed Solomon also attempted screenplay drafts. 18 While the screenplay lingered in development hell, Paramount subsequently lost the film rights and they reverted to the Dahl estate. 18. In September 2011, DreamWorks 20 acquired the film rights to the book. Kennedy and Marshall were announced to produce, with screenwriter Melissa Matheson adapting the story. 20 Initially, John Madden was hired to direct. However, in April 2014, Steven Spielberg 21 was announced as the director, with Madden now listed as executive producer with producer Michael Siegel. 22 Kennedy had initially thought of Spielberg as director, but hesitated asking him until a more concrete screenplay was presentable. 23 Spielberg stated, "The BFG has enchanted families and their children for more than 3 decades. We are honored that the Roald Dahl estate has entrusted us with this classic story." 24. Walden Media 3 agreed to co-produce and co-finance the film with DreamWorks and Amblin Entertainment in March 2015. 3 A month later, Walt Disney Studios 11, which was under prior agreement to distribute the film through its Touchstone Pictures banner, also joined the production as a co-producer and co-financier, and shifted the film from a Touchstone release to a Walt Disney Pictures production instead. 1-21 Consequently, the BFG is the first Disney-branded film directed by Spielberg, though he has previously produced several films for the studio. 25 Similarly, as a result of the restructuring of Amblin Partners 26, DreamWorks did not receive a marquee credit placement of the studio's production logo on marketing materials and opening titles, and instead, DreamWorks' marquee credit shifted to Amblin. 27-28 The film is the second adaptation of the novel following the 1989 direct-to-television animated film. It is also Disney's first feature-length adaptation of a Roald Dahl work since Henry Selick's James and the Giant Peach, 1996. Casting. Mark Rylance was cast as the BFG in October 2014. 9 Spielberg had approached Rylance with the role during the filming of Bridge of Spies. 29-30 Spielberg was quoted as saying that Mark Rylance is a transformational actor. "I am excited and thrilled that Mark will be making this journey with us to Giant Country. Everything about his career so far is about making the courageous choice, and I'm honored he has chosen the BFG as his next big screen performance." 31-32. Rylance performed the character through motion capture, a process which he referred to as liberating. 33 In mid-November 2014, it was revealed that a 10-year-old student of Lower Peover School, Ruby Barnhill, had auditioned for the film. She had to learn 6 pages of dialogue in preparation for a possible role as the orphan Sophie. 34 After a lengthy search, on December 16, Barnhill was cast in the role, about which she said, "I feel incredibly lucky and I'm so happy." Spielberg stated that they have discovered a wonderful Sophie in Ruby Barnhill. 10. Bill Hader was set to star in the film in an unspecified role on March 27, 2015. 13 On April 13, 2015, the rest of the cast was announced, which included Penelope Wilton, Rebecca Hall, Jemaine Clement, Michael David Adamthwaite, Daniel Bacon, Chris Gibbs, Adam Godley, Jonathan Holmes, Paul Moniz de Esse, and Olafur Olafsson. 11. Filming. Principal photography on the film began on March 23, 2015, in Vancouver 11:35 and concluded on June 12, 2015. 36 Weta Digital worked on the film's visual effects. 37 It was Matheson's last and sole posthumous film following her death on November 4, 2015. Music. Main article, the BFG, soundtrack. John Williams composed and conducted the film's musical score, marking the 27th collaboration between Spielberg and Williams. 38 Williams was announced as the film's composer in March 2015. 39 During the process of writing the score, Williams compared the film to a child's ballet where there are dances involved, elaborating, "The BFG tries to capture dreams with his net and does something that almost looks like a Ray Bolger or Fred Astaire dance. It is an amazingly musical and choreographic sequence which required the orchestra to do things that are more associated with musical films." 40. Williams found similarities with the scoring of Home Alone, admitting that writing music for the BFG was really an opportunity to compose and orchestrate a little children's fantasy for orchestra. 41. The soundtrack was released by Walt Disney Records on July 1, 2016. 42. Release. Spielberg, Barnhill, and Rylance promoting the film at the 2016 Cannes Film Festival. The BFG premiered on May 14, 2016, at the 2016 Cannes Film Festival, in an out-of-competition screening. 43 Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures distributed the film worldwide, except for territories in Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, where the film's distribution rights were sold by Amblin's international partner, Mr. Smith Entertainment, to independent distributors. 32144 Amblin Partners' financial partner, Rylance Entertainment, released the film in India on July 29, 2016. 45 Waxia Film Distribution released the film in China. Disney released a teaser trailer on December 9, 2015. 46 A second trailer was released on April 5, 2016. 47 A third trailer was released on May 16, 2016. 48 The film held its North American premiere at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, California on June 21, 2016. 49 It was released in the United States on July 1, 2016. 50 Entertainment One distributed the film in the United Kingdom on July 22, 2016. 51 Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment released the BFG on Blu-ray, DVD, and digital download on November 29, 2016. The film debuted in third of the home media sales chart for the week ending on December 2, 2016. 52 Entertainment One and 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment released the UK edition on DVD in 2016. Reception. Box office. The BFG grossed $55.5 million in North America and $139.7 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $195.2 million, against a production budget of $140 million. 8. In the United States and Canada, the BFG opened alongside The Legend of Tarzan and The Purge, election year at 3,357 theaters, and was projected to gross $22 to $32 million in its opening weekend. 53-54 The film was notably vying for drawing family audiences with the studio's own Finding Dory. 7 It made $775,000 from its Thursday previews. However, the low figure was not surprising, given how family films tend to attract fewer audiences during late-night showings. 55-56-57 This was followed by a $7 million opening day, including previews, and a disappointing $18.6 million opening weekend, which Deadline Hollywood called an awful start for this film, which is estimated to cost $140 million. 58-59 Forbes noted that Steven Spielberg's films tend to have long runs, irrespective of their opening numbers. However, it also pointed out that the July 4th weekend proves to be a non-leggy release schedule, and most films released during this time end up making only twice their holiday total over the course of their domestic theatrical run. 60 The New York Times called the opening figures a colossal misfire. 61. Due to the film's poor performance in North America, the film was considered a box office bomb. 62, 63, 64, 65 As a result of its low opening numbers in North America, the film needed greater financial success in its international markets, as pointed out by David Hollis, Disney's distribution chief, saying, "We're going to be reliant in a lot of ways on international audiences." 61 Internationally, during its opening weekend, where the 4th of July weekend is not a holiday, the film opened to $3.9 million in its opening weekend from two markets, Australia and Russia. 66 In Australia, it opened to $2 million, placing third, while in Russia it debuted second with $1.9 million, which tops the entire runs of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and War Horse. In the United Kingdom, where the book is more well known, it opened to $6.9 million. 67. In China, the release was handled by Huaxia Film Distribution. While it benefited from a robust marketing effort including Spielberg's presence in the country itself, it suffered from a 3-month-long delay after its North American release. It had an estimated $13.8 million opening, debuting at second place behind Operation Mekong. 68-69 Many Chinese online reviews criticized Spielberg for making the film too juvenile for adults. 70. The BFG is one of the lowest-grossing films of Spielberg's career, specifically in North America, and, when accounting for inflation, one of the year's biggest flops, but The Hollywood Reporter noted that Disney would be able to withstand the losses due to the success of Captain America, Civil War and Finding Dory. 71 The site also highlighted that the financial losses for Disney could be $90 to $100 million based on theatrical returns alone. 72. Critical response. On the review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 74% based on 308 reviews and an average rating of 6.70/10. The site's critical consensus reads, "The BFG minimizes the darker elements of Roald Dahl's classic in favor of a resolutely good-natured, visually stunning, and largely successful family-friendly adventure." 73. On another aggregator, Metacritic, the film has a score of 66 out of 100 based on 47 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. 74 audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A on an A+ to F scale. 75. Justin Chang of Los Angeles Times called Rylance's performance a brilliant amalgam of performance capture technology and peerless screen presence. 76. Scott Mendelson of Forbes described the film as a charming, intelligent, and witty little adventure movie with strong special effects work in the service of a most unassuming story. 77. Mendelson also commended the film's smaller scope in story, as well as Rylance and Barnhill's interaction. 77 Robbie Collin of the Daily Telegraph called the film a significant technical accomplishment, adding that the infinitesimally detailed motion capture technology alone, which stretches Rylance's human performance to gargantuan proportions, is river-straddling bounds beyond anything that's come before it. 78. Critic Matt Zoller cites highly appreciated Spielberg's direction of the film, giving the film 3.5 out of 4 stars. Cites remarks, "I can imagine some adults finding the movie dull, nothing happens, they'll say. And it's too nice. But I can imagine other adults loving the film for helping them remember what it's like to be young enough to hide from a movie monster because he's big and weird looking and then laugh because he's kind of silly." 79. Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter compared the film negatively to Spielberg's E.T. the Extraterrestrial, as a conspicuously less captivating, magical and transporting experience than its classic forebear. 80. Peter de Brugge of Variety, however, compared the film favorably to E.T., writing, "This splendid Steven Spielberg-directed adaptation makes it possible for audiences of all ages to wrap their heads around one of the unlikeliest friendships in cinema history, resulting in the sort of instant family classic human beings once relied upon Disney to deliver." 81. A.O. Scott of the New York Times praised the film's digital effects and visual style as exquisite, though he felt that the film lacked the excitement found in Spielberg's previous fantasy films. 82. Richard Brody of The New Yorker stating that it plays like a forced march of fun, a mandatory strain of magic and a prescribed dose of poetry, like a movie ready-made for screening in classrooms when a teacher is absent. Brody, however, observes that Spielberg is the BFG who's menaced by bigger and more monstrous giants who aren't interested in edifying their audiences but merely in consuming them, consuming the consumer, so to speak. 83. Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times called the film technically impressive but listless and tedious, painfully cutesy, silly and gross rather than whimsical and funny. He thought that the film moved far too slowly and was missing a sense of wonder and adventure, saying that he'd rather see every one of Spielberg's previous films before having to sit through the BFG again. Sir David Mark Rylance Waters, /Round/, born January 18, 1960, is an English actor, playwright, and theatre director. Known for his work on stage and screen, he has received numerous awards including an Academy Award, 3 BAFTA Awards, 2 Olivier Awards and 3 Tony Awards. In 2016 he was included in the Time 100 list of the world's most influential people. In 2017 he was made a knight by Queen Elizabeth II. Between 1995 and 2005 Rylance was the first artistic director of Shakespeare's Globe in London. He appeared in the West End productions of Much Ado About Nothing in 1994 and Jerusalem in 2010, winning the Olivier Award for Best Actor for both. He has also appeared on Broadway, winning 3 Tony Awards, 2 for Best Actor for Boing in 2008 and Jerusalem in 2011, and 1 for Best Featured Actor for Twelfth Night in 2014. He was Tony nominated for his roles in Richard III in 2014 and Farinelli and the King in 2017. Rylance's film roles include Prospero's Books, 1991, Intimacy, 2001, The Other Bullen Girl, 2008, and Steven Spielberg's Bridge of Spies, 2015, for which he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. He subsequently collaborated with Spielberg acting in the BFG, 2016, and Ready Player One, 2018. He also appeared in Dunkirk, 2017, The Trial of the Chicago 7, 2020, Bones and All, 2022, and The Outfit, 2022. On television, Rylance won the British Academy Television Award for Best Actor for his role as David Kelly in the 2005 Channel 4 drama The Government Inspector and for playing Thomas Cromwell in the 2015 BBC 2 miniseries Wolf Hall. For the latter role, he also received Emmy Award and Golden Globe Award nominations. Rylance is a patron of the London International Festival of Theatre, of the London-based charity Peace Direct, which supports peace builders in areas of conflict, and of the Stop the War Coalition. Early life and education. Rylance was born as David Mark Waters on January 18, 1960 in Ashford, Kent 1 to Anne, née Skinner, and David Waters, both teachers of English. One of his grandmothers was Irish. Both of his grandfathers were British POWs of the Japanese in the Second World War. His maternal grandfather, Osmond Skinner, spent decades as a banker with the Hong Kong Shanghai Bank, HSBC. After being shot in the stomach during the Battle of Hong Kong, Skinner was recuperating when he witnessed the St. Stephen's College massacre. Rylance's parents moved to the U.S. in 1962, first to Connecticut, then to Wisconsin in 1969, where his father and mother taught English at the University School of Milwaukee, which Rylance attended until his graduation in 1978-5 when he returned to England. Rylance has a sister named Susanna, an opera singer and author, and a deceased brother, Jonathan, who was a sommelier at Chez Panisse. 6. When in Milwaukee, acting mentor Dale Gutzman cast Rylance in a variety of roles before he relocated to London to train at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, from 1978 to 1980. 17 Due to his time in Wisconsin, Rylance had developed an American accent, claiming, "When I arrived in London at RADA, I was treated as the American." 8 He took the stage name of Mark Rylance because his given name, Mark Waters, was already taken by someone else registered with Equity. Citation needed. Career: 1980 to 1999, Royal Shakespeare Company and Shakespeare's Globe. Rylance started his career acting in numerous productions with the Royal Shakespeare Company. In 1980, Rylance gained his professional acting debut in the Sean Lawton play Desperado Corner at the Glasgow Citizens Theatre 9 in Glasgow, Scotland, where he acted in a variety of plays as well as organizing his own experimental theatre group. 1. In 1982 and 1983 he performed in numerous productions at the Royal Shakespeare Company, RSC, in Stratford-upon-Avon and London. During this time he acted in productions of The Taming of the Shrew, The Tempest, and A Midsummer Night's Dream. 10. He received his first Laurence Olivier Award nomination in the Best Supporting Actor in a Play category for his portrayal of Michael in Arden of Faversham at the 1983 Laurence Olivier Awards. In 1988 Rylance played Hamlet with the RSC in Ron Daniels' production that toured Ireland and Britain for a year. The play then ran in Stratford-upon-Avon. Hamlet toured the US for 2 years. In 1990 Rylance and Claire Van Kampen, later his wife, founded Phoebus Cart, their own theatre company. The following year, the company staged The Tempest on the road. Citation needed. In 1995 Rylance became the first artistic director of Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, a post he held until 2005. Rylance directed and acted in every season, in works by Shakespeare and others, including an all-male production of Twelfth Night, in which he played Olivia, and Richard III in the title role. Citation needed. Under his directorate, new plays were also performed at the Globe, the first being Augustine's Oak, referring to Augustine of Canterbury and Christianization of Anglo-Saxon England, by Peter Oswald, the writer-in-residence, which was performed in 1999. A second play by Oswald followed in 2002, The Golden Ass or The Curious Man. Citation needed. Rylance played the lead in Gillies MacKinnon's film The Grass Arena, 1991, and won the Radio Times Award for Best Newcomer. In 1993 he starred in Matthew Warch's production of Much Ado About Nothing at the Queen's Theatre, produced by Thelma Holt. His Benedict won him an Olivier Award for Best Actor. Citation needed. 2000 to 2009, Broadway debut and acclaim. Rylance has acted in numerous plays of William Shakespeare. For his role as Jay in Intimacy, 2001, directed by Patrice Giroux, he received real, rather than simulated, fellatio. 11-12 He took the leading role as British weapons expert David Kelly in Peter Kosminski's The Government Inspector, 2005, an award-winning Channel 4 production for which he won the British Academy Television Award for Best Actor in 2005. That same year, Oswald's third play written for the Globe was first performed, The Storm, an adaptation of Plautus's comedy Rudens, The Rope, arguably one of the sources of Shakespeare's The Tempest. 13-14 other historical first nights were organized by Rylance while director of the Globe, including Twelfth Night performed in 2002 at Middle Temple, to commemorate its first performance there exactly 400 years before, and Measure for Measure at Hampton Court in summer 2004. In 2007 he received a Sam Wanamaker Award together with his wife Claire Van Kampen, Director of Music, and Jenny Tiramani, Director of Costume Design, for the founding work during the opening 10 years at Shakespeare's Globe. Citation needed. In 2007 Rylance wrote, co-conceived by John Dove, and starred in the Big Secret Live I Am Shakespeare webcam daytime chat room show, a comedy of Shakespearean identity crisis, which toured England in 2007. On September 8, 2007 Derek Jacobi and Rylance unveiled a declaration of reasonable doubt on the authorship of William Shakespeare's work, after the final matinee performance of the Big Secret Live I Am Shakespeare webcam daytime chat room show in Chichester. The actual author of Shakespeare's plays is variously proposed to be Christopher Marlowe, Francis Bacon, Edward de Vere, 17th Earl of Oxford, or Mary Sidney Herbert, Countess of Pembroke. The declaration named 20 prominent doubters of the past, including Mark Twain, John Gielgud, Charlie Chaplin, and actor Leslie Howard, later withdrawn from the list, and was made by the Shakespeare Authorship Coalition, duly signed online by 300 people to begin new research. Jacobi and Rylance presented a copy of the document to William Leahy, head of English at Brunel University, London. In 2016 the writer Ben Elton delivered a riposte to this batty premise in the episode If You Prick Us, Do We Not Bleed of his television comedy Upstart Crow. 15 The great but self-regarding and pretentious actor Wolf Hall, played by Ben Miller, joins Burbage's acting company to play Shylock. The character Wolf Hall confronts Shakespeare, played by David Mitchell, with the suggestion that he didn't write his own plays. It is a satirical portrait of Rylance and his opinion. 16, 17, 18. In 2007 Rylance performed in Boing in London. In 2008 he reprised the role on Broadway and won Drama Desk and Tony Awards for his performance. Citation needed. In 2009 Rylance won the Critics' Circle Theatre Award Best Actor, 2009 for his role of Johnny Byron in Jez Butterworth's play Jerusalem at the Royal Court Theatre in London. Citation needed. 2010 to 2019, Career Expansion. Steven Spielberg, Ruby Barnhill, and Mark Rylance at the 2016 Cannes Film Festival in Cannes, France. Rylance with Steven Spielberg and co-star Ruby Barnhill in 2016. In 2010 Rylance starred in a revival of David Hurson's verse play La Bête. The play ran first at London's Comedy Theatre before transferring to the Music Box Theatre on Broadway, on September 23, 2010. Citation needed. Also in 2010 he won another Olivier Award for Best Actor in the role of Johnny Byron in Jerusalem at the Apollo Theatre in London. In 2011 he won his second Tony Award for playing the same role in the Broadway production. Citation needed. In 2013 Shakespeare's Globe brought 2 all-male productions to Broadway, starring Rylance as Olivia in Twelfth Night and in the title role in Richard III, for a limited run in repertory. He won his 5th Tony Award for his performance as Olivia and was nominated for his performance as Richard III. Citation needed. He played Thomas Cromwell in Wolf Hall, 2015, BBC Two's adaptation of Hilary Mantel's historical novels Wolf Hall and Bring Up the Bodies. 19 For his performance, he was nominated for numerous accolades including the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Miniseries or a Movie, the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Miniseries or Television Film and the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in a Miniseries or Television Movie. Rylance was featured as the castaway on the BBC radio programme Desert Island Discs on February 15, 2015. 20. Rylance co-starred in the biographical drama Bridge of Spies, released in October 2015, directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Tom Hanks, Amy Ryan, and Alan Alda. The film is about the 1960 U-2 incident and the arrest and conviction of Soviet spy Rudolf Abel and the exchange of Abel for U-2 pilot Gary Powers. Rylance, who had previously turned down a role offered by Spielberg in the 1987 film Empire of the Sun, 21 plays Abel and has received unanimous universal acclaim for his performance, with many critics claiming it as the best performance of 2015. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch quoted, "As the deeply principled Donovan, Hanks deftly balances earnestness and humor. And Rylance's spirited performance is almost certain to yield an Oscar nomination." 22. David Adelstein from New York cited it's Rylance who keeps Bridge of Spies standing. He gives a teeny, witty, fabulously non-emotive performance, every line musical and slightly ironic, the irony being his forthright refusal to deceive in a world founded on lies. 23. Rylance won the Academy Award, BAFTA Award, and New York Film Critics Circle Award in the Best Supporting Actor categories, as well as receiving Golden Globe Award and Screen Actors Guild Award nominations, among other wins and nominations. Rylance at the Deauville American Film Festival in 2019. Rylance played the title role in Spielberg's The BFG, a film adaptation of the children's book by Roald Dahl. Filming took place in 2015, and the film was released in July 2016. 24. In 2016, Rylance co-wrote and starred in the new comedy play Nice Fish at St. Anne's Warehouse, New York. The production subsequently transferred to the Harold Pinter Theatre in London's West End. 25-26 Rylance had a major role in Christopher Nolan's 2017 action thriller Dunkirk, based on the British military evacuation of the French city of Dunkirk in 1940 during the Second World War. 27 The film co-starred Tom Hardy, Kenneth Branagh, Cillian Murphy and Harry Styles. 28 In 2018 Rylance made his third collaboration with Spielberg acting playing James Halliday in the science fiction epic film Ready Player One. That same year Rylance starred in Farinelli and the King on the Broadway stage, earning a Tony Award for Best Actor in a Play, his fifth career Tony Award nomination. 29 Later that year 2018, he appeared in Waiting for the Barbarians, alongside Johnny Depp and Robert Pattinson. 30 In June 2019, he resigned from the Royal Shakespeare Company due to its sponsorship deal with BP. He last appeared on stage for the RSC in 1989. 31. 2020, present. On September 8, 2019 Rylance revealed to Allocene that he was cast to play Satan in the American filmmaker Terrence Malick's upcoming film The Last Planet, since renamed The Way of the Wind. 32 In 2020 Rylance appeared in Aaron Sorkin's legal drama The Trial of the Chicago 7, which premiered on Netflix. He portrayed William Kunstler, defense counsel, co-founder of the Center for Constitutional Rights, board member of the American Civil Liberties Union, and active member of the National Lawyers Guild. The film received near universal praise and was nominated for 6 Academy Awards. Citation needed. In the 2021 American political satire and science fiction film Don't Look Up, directed by Adam McKay, Rylance portrayed Peter Isherwell, a fictional eccentric billionaire CEO of tech company Bash and top supporter of President Janie Orlean. 33 Delayed by the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Semmelweis, a new play, based on the life of Ignace Semmelweis, written by Stephen Brown and Rylance completed an extended run at the Bristol Old Vic in January and February 2022. 34 Rylance played the lead role of Dr. Semmelweis throughout the run in Bristol. 35-36 In 2022 Rylance appeared in The Outfit 37, an American crime drama thriller film directed by Graham Moore, his directorial debut, as an English tailor, or, as he prefers to be called, a cutter, in Chicago whose main clients are a family of gangsters. 38 In the same year, he appeared in the Luca Guadagnino directed horror film Bones and All, which premiered at the 79th Venice International Film Festival on 2 September 2022. 39 And Inland, a British drama directed by Fridtjof Ryder in his directorial debut. 40 In 2023 Rylance once again took the lead role in Dr. Semmelweis as it transferred to the Harold Pinter Theatre in London's West End. 41-42 In 2024 he starred opposite J. Smith Cameron in the West End revival of Juno and the Paycock at the Gielgud Theatre. 43. Personal life. Marriage and family. In 1989 Rylance married the composer and playwright Claire Van Kampen, whom he met in 1987 while working on a production of The Wandering Jew at the National Theatre. They were married in Oxfordshire. 44 Through this marriage, he became a stepfather to her 2 daughters from a previous marriage, actress Juliette Rylance and filmmaker Natasha Van Kampen. Natasha died in July 2012 at the age of 28, following which Rylance withdrew from his planned participation in the 2012 Summer Olympics opening ceremony in London and was replaced by Kenneth Branagh. 45-46 Claire Van Kampen died from cancer in 2025. 47. Rylance's brother, Jonathan Waters, died in May 2022 following a collision with a vehicle while cycling. 48. Charity and activism. Rylance speaking at a rally of the Stop the War Coalition against the war in Syria in London in 2015. Rylance became a patron of LIFT, London International Festival of Theatre, in 2013. He said about the festival, "I feel LIFT has done more to influence the growth and adventure of English theatre than any other organisation we have." 49. Rylance became patron of the London Bubble Speech Bubbles project in 2015. "I found a voice through making theatre and am proud to be the patron of Speech Bubbles, which helps hundreds of children to do the same." 50. Rylance has been a supporter of the Indigenous rights organisation Survival International for many years. 51. He is the creator and director of We Are One, a fundraiser that took place at the Apollo Theatre in April 2010. The evening was a performance of tribal prose and poetry from some of the world's leading actors and musicians. Rylance is a patron of the London-based charity Peace Direct, which supports grassroots peace builders in areas of conflict, and of the British Stop the War Coalition. 52. He is a member of the Peace Pledge Union, a network of pacifists in the UK. He performed the life and words of Henry, a man living in war-torn eastern Congo, during a presentation in New York City in 2011. He is also patron of the Outside Edge Theatre Company. 53. It works from the perspective of creating theatre and drama with people affected by substance abuse. It provides theatre interventions in drug and alcohol treatment and general community facilities throughout Britain, as well as producing professional public theatre productions that take place in theatres, studio theatres, and art centres. Rylance has long been an enthusiastic supporter of Conscience, Taxes for Peace Not War, which works to change British tax law to allow conscientious objectors the right to redirect that portion of their taxes which would usually go to the military into non-violent methods of conflict resolution. 54. In November 2019, along with other public figures, Rylance signed a letter supporting Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn, describing him as a beacon of hope in the struggle against emergent far-right nationalism, xenophobia, and racism in much of the democratic world, and endorsed him in the 2019 UK general election. 55. In December 2019, along with 42 other leading cultural figures, he signed a letter endorsing the Labour Party under Corbyn's leadership in the 2019 United Kingdom general election. The letter stated that Labour's election manifesto under Jeremy Corbyn's leadership offers a transformative plan that prioritizes the needs of people and the planet over private profit and the vested interests of a few. 56-57. In 2020 he cut ties with the Royal Shakespeare Company due to its sponsorship by BP, stating, "I came to the incontrovertible conclusion that BP is neither sincere nor serious in addressing the climate crisis." 58. He has supported making ecocide a crime at the International Criminal Court, saying, "I believe that ecocide law is very much needed and inevitably on its way. It will be an important step towards a deep connection with nature. It will provide the moral impetus to change business as usual and lead us towards a true humble love for our home, the earth." Ruby Barnhill, born July 16, 2004, is an English actress. She played the lead role of Sophie in Disney's live-action adaptation of the BFG, directed by Steven Spielberg, in 2016. 1-2. She also subsequently provided the voice of Mary Smith in the English dub of 2017's Mary and the Witch's Flower, a film from Studio Ponoc directed by Hiromasa Onibayashi. Early life and career. Barnhill was born on July 16, 2004 in Knutsford, Cheshire, England. She lives with her parents and younger sister in Cheshire, and she is a member of the local youth theatre. 3. In 2024, it was confirmed that Barnhill would voice Aurora in the English dub of Studio Ponuk's The Imaginary. 4. Prior to this announcement, Barnhill's acting career seemed to be on hiatus as she had not been in anything since 2019's Princess Emmy, in which she voiced the title character. Back in 2016, Barnhill said in an interview that she was being careful not to let her instant fame go to her head. She admitted, "I'm not sure I want to do any more films. I like the idea of becoming a director, TV or maybe theater, or a drama teacher." Dame Penelope Alice Wilton DBE, born June 3, 1946, is an English actress. Wilton is known for starring opposite Richard Briers in the BBC sitcom Ever Decreasing Circles, 1984 to 1989, playing Homily in The Borrowers, 1992, and The Return of the Borrowers, 1993, and her role as the widowed Isabel Crawley in the ITV drama Downton Abbey, 2010 to 2015. She also played the recurring role of Harriet Jones in Doctor Who, 2005, 2008, and Anne in Ricky Gervais' Netflix dark comedy Afterlife. Wilton has had an extensive career on stage, receiving 6 Olivier Award nominations. She was nominated for Man and Superman, 1981, The Secret Rapture, 1988, The Deep Blue Sea, 1994, John Gabriel Borkman, 2008, and The Chalk Garden, 2009, before winning the 2015 Olivier Award for Best Actress for Taken at Midnight. Her film appearances include Clockwise, 1986, Cry Freedom, 1987, Blame It on the Bellboy, 1992, Calendar Girls, 2003, Shaun of the Dead, 2004, Matchpoint, 2005, Pride and Prejudice, 2005, The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, 2012, The Girl, 2012, The BFG, 2016, and The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry, 2023. Early life and background. Wilton was born in Scarborough, North Riding of Yorkshire, the second of 3 daughters of Cliff Wilton, a Cambridge-educated businessman and barrister who had played rugby union on the amateur and provincial level, going on to be an administrator in the sport, and Alice Linda Traverse, a tap dancer and former actress. 1-2. She is a niece of actors Bill Traverse and Lyndon Traverse. Her cousins include actors Angela and Richard Morant. 3. Her maternal grandparents owned theatres. 2. She attended the Drama Centre London from 1965 to 1968. 4-5. Career. Wilton began her career on stage in 1969 at the Nottingham Playhouse. Her early roles included Cordelia in King Lear, both in Nottingham and at the Old Vic. 6. She made her Broadway debut in March 1971 when she played Araminta in the original Broadway production of The Philanthropist, and made her West End debut in August 1971 opposite Sir Ralph Richardson in the John Osborne play West of Suez at the Cambridge Theatre. 7. She had previously appeared in both plays at the Royal Court Theatre. She played Ruth in the original 1974 London stage production of Alan Ayckbourn's Norman Conquests trilogy, initially as understudy for Bridget Turner. Her television acting career began in 1972, playing Vivie Warren in the BBC Two's adaptation of Mrs. Warren's Profession opposite Coral Brown in the title role and Robert Powell. 8. The production was repeated as part of the Play of the Month series in 1974 on BBC One. 9. In 1994, Wilton portrayed Brown in a radio adaptation of An Englishman Abroad for the BBC World Service 10 and repeated on various BBC radio formats since. 11. Following the broadcast of Mrs. Warren's Profession, Wilton then had several major TV roles, including 2 of the BBC television Shakespeare productions, as Desdemona in Othello and Regan in King Lear. 12. Wilton's film career includes roles in The French Lieutenant's Woman, 1981, Cry Freedom, 1987, Iris, 2001, Calendar Girls, 2003, and Shaun of the Dead, 2004, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, 2005, Woody Allen's Match Point, 2005, and In the History Boys, 2006. Citation needed. She did not garner fame until she appeared with Richard Briers in the 1984 BBC situation comedy, Ever Decreasing Circles, which ran for 5 years. She played Anne, long-suffering wife of Martin Briers, an obsessive and pedantic do-gooder. In 2005, Wilton guest-starred as Harriet Jones for 2 episodes in the BBC's revival of the popular TV science fiction series Doctor Who. This guest role was written especially for her by the program's chief writer and executive producer Russell T. Davies, with whom she had worked on Bob and Rose, ITV, 2001. The character of Jones returned as Prime Minister in the Doctor Who 2005 Christmas special The Christmas Invasion. In the first part of the 2008 series finale, The Stolen Earth, she made a final appearance, now as the former Prime Minister who sacrifices herself by extermination by the Daleks so that the Doctor's companions can contact him. Citation needed. Wilton with Downton Abbey co-star Jim Carter, 2013. Wilton appeared on television as Barbara Poole, the mother of a missing woman, in the BBC television drama series 5 Days in 2005, and in ITV's drama Half Broken Things, October 2007, and the BBC production of The Passion, Easter 2008. Beginning in 2010, she appeared as Isabel Crawley in all 6 seasons of the hit period drama Downton Abbey. She was the castaway on BBC Radio 4's Desert Island Discs in April 2008. In December 2012 and February 2013, she was the narrator in Lynn Collins' dramatization of Elizabeth Jane Howard's The Coselettes, broadcast on BBC Radio. 13. Personal life. Between 1975 and 1984, Wilton was married to actor Daniel Massey. They had a daughter, Alice, born in 1977. 14 before that, they had a stillborn son. 15. In 1991, Wilton married actor Ian Holm. In 1992, they appeared together as Pod and Homily in the BBC's adaptation of The Borrowers. A year later, they appeared together in a follow-up The Return of the Borrowers. In 1998, Ian Holm was knighted and Wilton became Lady Holm. They divorced in 2001. 16. As she has not remarried, she could be known, if she so chose, as Penelope, Lady Holm, in line with the style of the former wife of a knight. 17. Honours. Wilton was appointed an Officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, in the 2004 New Year Honours and was elevated to become a Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire, DBE, in the 2016 Birthday Honours 18 both for services to drama. In 2017 Wilton was made an Honorary Graduate and Fellow by York St John University. Jemaine Ada Mahana Clement, born January 10, 1974, 2 is a New Zealand actor, comedian, musician, and filmmaker. He has released several albums with Brett McKenzie as the musical comedy duo Flight of the Conchords, and created the comedy television series of the same name for both the BBC and HBO, for which he received 6 Primetime Emmy nominations. He has had featured parts in films including Eagle vs Shark, 2007, Gentlemen Broncos, 2009, Men in Black 3, 2012, People Places Things, 2015, Humor Me, 2017, The Festival, 2018, Avatar, The Way of Water, 2022, and a Minecraft movie, 2025. He has also done voice work for Despicable Me, 2010, Rio, 2011, and Rio 2, 2014, Moana, 2016, The Lego Batman Movie, 2017, Thelma the Unicorn, 2024, and Wildwood, 2026. In 2014, he made his directorial debut with What We Do in the Shadows, which he also co-wrote, co-directed, and co-starred in with Take a Waitatai, and later adapted into a show for the FX television series What We Do in the Shadows. Early life. Jemaine Ada Mahana Clement III was born on January 10, 1974 in Masterton in Wairarapa and was raised there in a working-class family by his mother and grandmother Maikara with his two brothers. 3-5 Clement is of Maori, Ngati Kahungunu, descent through his mother, and a direct descendant of the Rangatira, chief, Irea Teamaote Irangi Te Waiti, who is his great-great-great-grandfather. 6-7 His Pakeha father, Robert, was employed at the freezing works and struggled with alcoholism, leaving home when Clement was a child. Robert would later become a stained glass artist in Midhurst, Taranaki. Clement would later reconnect with his father as an adult and now enjoys a strong and loving relationship with him. 8. Clement's mother and grandmother were strong influences on him as a child, inspiring his sense of humor. 9. Despite having a strong connection to his Maori ethnicity through visiting relatives regularly on trips to various Maori bans on the Maori language being spoken in schools meant Clement grew up in an almost entirely English-speaking environment. He has talked of his regrets about this and has emotionally spoken of the physical abuse his grandmother suffered at school for speaking Te Reo Maori. 9. He attended Makara College in Masterton. After finishing school he moved to Wellington, where he studied drama and film at Victoria University of Wellington. There he met Take a Waitatai, with whom he went on to form So You're a Man and the Humour Beasts. In 2004, the Humour Beasts toured New Zealand in a stage show titled The Untold Tales of Maui 10, a reworking of the traditional Maori legends of Maui. The duo received New Zealand's highest comedy honour, the Billy T Award. During his time in university, he also met Brett Mackenzie, with whom he performed in Edinburgh, thus forming Flight of the Conchords. Career. Music. Clement in 2010. Clement and Mackenzie have toured internationally and released 4 CDs, Folk the World Tour in 2002, The Distant Future EP in 2007, winner of 2008 Grammy for Best Comedy Album, Flight of the Conchords in 2008 and I Told You I Was Freaky in 2009. In 2005 the Conchords produced Flight of the Conchords, a 6-part comedy radio program on BBC Radio 2. They appeared on Late Night with Conan O'Brien, The Late Show with David Letterman and The Late Late Show. After appearing in 2005 on HBO's One Night Stand, the Conchords were offered their own 12-part HBO series, Flight of the Conchords, which was based on their earlier BBC radio series. 11. Its first season ran from June to September 2007, and was renewed for a second season, which aired on HBO in the US from January to March 2009. 12. In December 2009, the Conchords announced the show would not have a third season. 13. Film and television. Clement has appeared in several feature films. His debut was in the kung fu comedy Tongan Ninja, directed by New Zealander Jason Stutter. He has worked with Stutter on 2 more films to date, the low-budget ghost comedy Diagnosis, Death and the Drama Predicament, based on the book by late New Zealand novelist Ronald Hugh Morrison. Clement also has a role in American comedy Gentlemen Broncos, directed by Napoleon Dynamite's Jared Hess. This role landed him a nomination for the Independent Spirit Award for Best Supporting Male. Though Gentlemen Broncos was almost universally panned by critics, some 14 singled out Clement's performance for praise. In 2010, he voiced Jerry in Despicable Me and appeared in the film Dinner for Schmucks. In 2011, he voiced Nigel in Rio, and in 2012 he appeared as the primary antagonist Boris the Animal in Men in Black 3. In 2012, Jemaine co-wrote, co-directed, and starred in a vampire mockumentary titled What We Do in the Shadows with Take a Waitatai. It premiered at the Sundance Film Festival on January 19, 2014. He also reprised his role as Nigel in Rio 2. Clement has starred in television commercials internationally and provided voiceovers for many others in New Zealand. On February 5, 2006, Outback Steakhouse began running a series of television commercials starring Clement during Super Bowl 40, in which Clement pretends to be Australian and feigns an Australian accent. One of the long-running gags of Flight of the Conchords is the traditional rivalry between New Zealand and Australia and the differences between their accents. The campaign ended in July 2006. Clement has been involved in award-winning radio work. In 1999, Clement was a Radio Awards winner as writer for Trashed, for Channel Z, Wellington. 15 In 2000, he was given a special Radio Awards commendation for the Sunglass Store. 16. Besides his television work on Flight of the Conchords, Clement was a writer and cast member of the television show Skits and Telly Laughs in New Zealand. 17. 18. Clement, with fellow CONC Horde member Brett McKenzie, guest starred as a pair of camp counselors in Elementary School Musical, the season premiere of the 22nd season of The Simpsons, which aired on September 26, 2010. 19. Clement at Fantastic Fest in 2009. Clement also played the role of a prisoner in a Russian gulag in the 2014 film Muppets Most Wanted, a sequel to The Muppets, 2011. Clement was featured as one of 2008's 100 Sexiest People in a special edition of the Australian magazine Who. 20. Fellow CONC Horde member Mackenzie appeared on the same list. In 2015, Clement voiced a mind-reading fart 21 on an episode of the Adult Swim animated series Rick and Morty, where he performed the song Goodbye Moonman. 22. Clement also starred in the independent film, People Places Things, which received positive reviews. In 2016, Clement lent his voice to Tomato, a giant coconut crab, in the Disney animated film Moana, both in English and the Maori dub. He based the character's voice on that of David Bowie. 23. In 2017, Clement played Oliver Bird in the FX TV series Legion. He also voiced Sauron in the Lego Batman movie. In 2019, Clement played the role of a musician in the Belgian film Patrick. His character, a touring musician visiting a naturist camp, was one of the few characters in full clothes for the duration of the film. Personal life. Clement's family did not have a car when he was a boy, and as a result he has never learned to drive. 24. In August 2008, Clement married his longtime girlfriend, theater actress and playwright Miranda Monsiatis. 25. Their son, Sophocles Irea, was born in October 2008 in New York City and is named after Menesiades's Greek great-grandfather Sophocles, and Clement's ancestor Irea Teamaote Irangi Te Waiti. 26. 24. They live in Wellington. Rebecca Maria Hall, born May 3, 1982, is an English actress and director. She made her first on-screen appearance at the age of 10 in the 1992 television adaptation of The Chamomile Lawn, directed by her father, Peter Hall. Her professional stage debut came in her father's 2002 production of Mrs. Warren's Profession, which earned her an Ian Charleson Award. In 2006, following her film debut in Starter for 10, Hall got her breakthrough role in Christopher Nolan's thriller film The Prestige. She starred in Woody Allen's romantic comedy Vicky Cristina Barcelona in 2008, for which she received a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress. Hall has appeared in a wide array of films, including Ron Howard's historical drama Frost/Nixon, 2008, Ben Affleck's crime drama The Town, 2010, the horror thriller The Awakening, 2011, the Marvel Cinematic Universe film Iron Man 3, 2013, the thriller The Gift, 2015, and the fantasy film The BFG, 2016. In 2016, Hall was praised by critics for her portrayal of news reporter Christine Chubbuck in the biographical drama Christine. She has since starred in the MonsterVerse films Godzilla vs. Kong, 2021, and Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, 2024, and made her directorial debut with the period drama Passing, 2021. Hall has also had several notable performances on British television. She won the British Academy Television Award for Best Supporting Actress for the 2009 Channel 4 miniseries Red Riding, 1974. In 2013, she was nominated for the British Academy Television Award for Best Actress for her performance in BBC Two's Parade's End. Early life and education. Rebecca Maria Hall was born in London, England. Citation needed. The daughter of American opera singer Maria Ewing and Sir Peter Hall, an English stage director and founder of the Royal Shakespeare Company. Her mother was born in Detroit, the daughter of an African-American mixed-race father and a Dutch mother. She is a descendant of American Revolutionary War veteran Bozabeel Norman, a free African man. 1, 2, 3, 4. Years later, as a guest on Finding Your Roots, Hall discovered that, while her maternal grandfather, Norman Isaac Ewing, had performed as a Native American figure and was reported as a Sioux chief in newspapers, he was the son of mixed-race African-American parents, and had no Native American ancestry. His father, Hall's great-grandfather John William Ewing, had been born into slavery. After the American Civil War, he became a prominent figure in the black community of Washington, D.C. Hall has 91% European DNA and 9% Sub-Saharan African DNA, according to an Ancestry.com DNA test. 5. Hall's parents separated when she was still young, eventually divorcing in 1990. 1. Hall has 5 paternal half-siblings: stage director Edward Hall, producer Christopher Hall, actresses Jennifer Karen Hall and Emma Hall, and set designer Lucy Hall. 1. 6. Hall attended Rodian School, where she became head girl. 1. She studied English literature at St. Catherine's College, Cambridge, before dropping out in 2002, just before her final year. 178. During her time at Cambridge, she was active in the student theatre scene and also set up her own theatre company. 9. She was a member of the Marlowe Society and performed in several productions alongside her housemate Dan Stevens, an English literature student at Emmanuel College. 10-11. Career. Film and television. Hall at the 2011 Toronto International Film Festival. Hall's first professional role came in 1992, when at the age of 9 she appeared as young Sophie in her father's television adaptation of Mary Wesley's The Chamomile Lawn. 12. Her feature film debut came in 2006 as Rebecca Epstein in the film adaptation of David Nichols's Starter for 10. Citation needed. She got her breakthrough with the role of Sarah Borden in Christopher Nolan's film The Prestige, 2006. She appeared in Stephen Poliakoff's Joe's Palace in 2007-13 in addition to appearing in several other television films, including Wide Sargasso Sea and Rubber Heart. Citation needed. Hall's Hollywood fame was sparked when she starred in the Woody Allen film Vicky Cristina Barcelona, 2008, as one of the title characters, Vicky. 14. Her performance was well received. 14. And she was nominated for the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress, Motion Picture Musical or Comedy. Citation needed. In 2008, she appeared in Ron Howard's historical drama Frost/Nixon as the girlfriend of David Frost, played by Michael Sheen. Citation needed. The following year she was cast in the British fantasy horror film Dorian Gray, based on Oscar Wilde's 1890 novel The Picture of Dorian Gray. Citation needed. Following a small role in the indie film Please Give, Hall starred in Ben Affleck's crime drama The Town, 2010, opposite Affleck and John Hamm. 14. In June 2010, she won the British Academy Television Award for Best Supporting Actress for her portrayal of Paula Garland in the 2009 Channel 4 production Red Riding, in the year of our Lord 1974. 15. The following year she played the female lead in the British ghost film The Awakening, released in September 2011. 16-17. In 2012, she took on the role of Beth Raymer in the comedy drama film Lay the Favorite, based on Raymer's memoir of the same title. One review commented that she plays Raymer as an endearing force of nature who somehow manages to survive in a dangerous world through sheer force of character. 18. She starred in the BBC/HBO/VRT production of Parade's End, 2012, opposite Benedict Cumberbatch, which earned her a BAFTA Television Award nomination for Best Actress. 19. In 2013, Hall replaced Jessica Chastain as Maya Hansen in the superhero film Iron Man 3. The same year she appeared in the political thriller Closed Circuit, 2013. She starred opposite Johnny Depp in Wally Pfister's directorial debut Transcendence, 2014. 20. In 2015, Hall starred in the romantic comedy Tumbledown and Joel Edgerton's directorial debut The Gift. 21-22. In the 2016 biographical drama Christine, Hall played Christine Chubbuck, a real-life TV news reporter. Her performance was praised by critics. 23-24. In 2017, she portrayed Elizabeth Holloway Marston, a psychologist who inspired the character of Wonder Woman, in Professor Marston and the Wonder Women. The same year, Hall joined the cast of A Rainy Day in New York, directed by Woody Allen. 25. After rereading accounts related to allegations of sexual abuse against Woody Allen, Hall in January 2018 donated her salary to Time's Up. She said, "I see not only how complicated this matter is, but that my actions have made another woman feel silenced and dismissed. I regret this decision and wouldn't make the same one today." 26. In 2018, Hall provided English dubbing for the character Mother in Marat. In 2021, Hall starred in and co-executive produced the well-reviewed horror thriller The Night House. The same year, she appeared in the monster film Godzilla vs. Kong. Citation needed. In 2021, she also made her directorial debut with the drama Passing, based on the 1929 American novel of the same name by Nella Larson. Hall wrote the screenplay and co-produced the film, which was largely inspired by her own mixed-race heritage, as well as her African-American ancestors who passed as white. Passing premiered at the 2021 Sundance Film Festival and received critical acclaim. 27, 28, 29, 30. Its distribution rights were acquired by Netflix for approximately $16 million. 31. Hall is a signatory of the Film Workers for Palestine boycott pledge that was published in September 2025. 32. Stage. Hall at the 2016 Cannes Film Festival. Hall made her professional stage debut in 2002 when she starred as Vivi in her father's production of Mrs. Warren's Profession at the Strand Theatre in London. Her performance, described as admirable 33 and accomplished 34, earned her the Ian Charleson Award in 2003. 35-36. In 2003, Hall's father celebrated 50 years as a theatre director by staging a season of 5 plays at the Theatre Royal in Bath, Somerset. Hall starred in 2 of these plays. She appeared as Rosalind in her father's production of As You Like It 37, which gained her a second Charleson nomination. 38, and starred in the title role of Thea Sherrick's revival of D.H. Lawrence's The Fight for Barbara. 39. In 2004, Hall appeared in 3 plays for the Peter Hall Company at the Theatre Royal Bath, 2 of which her father directed, Man and Superman, in which she played Anne, and Galileo's Daughter, in which she played Sister Maria Celeste. The third, Moliere's Don Juan, in which she played the part of Elvira, was directed by Sherrick. 40. In 2005, Hall reprised the role of Rosalind in a touring production of As You Like It, again under the direction of her father. This tour played the Rose Theatre in Kingston upon Thames, the Brooklyn Academy of Music in New York, the Curran Theatre in San Francisco. 41, and the Amundsen Theatre in Los Angeles. 42. This was a second leg of the U.S. tour that began in 2003 with venues at the Schubert Theatre 43 New Haven, Connecticut, 44 Columbus, Ohio, and the Wilbur Theatre in Boston. 45. In 2008 to 2009, Hall appeared in Sam Mendes's first installment of The Bridge Project as Hermione in The Winter's Tale and as Varia in The Cherry Orchard. 46. The project gave performances with the same cast in Germany, Greece, New Zealand, Singapore, Spain, the United Kingdom and the United States. 47 in 2010 to 2011, she played Viola in a production of Twelfth Night at London's National Theatre, directed by her father. 48. Hall made her Broadway debut in 2013 in Sophie Treadwell's expressionist play Mackinac. The Roundabout Theatre production, directed by Lindsay Turner, began previews on December 20, 2013, with the official opening on January 16, 2014 at the American Airlines Theatre. 49. Personal life. Hall and director Sam Mendes were in a relationship from 2011 to 2013. 50-51 in 2014, Hall met actor Morgan Spector while co-starring in a Broadway production. 52 They married in 2015. 51-52 Their daughter Ida was born in 2018. William Thomas Hayter Jr., born June 7, 1978, is an American actor, comedian, screenwriter, producer, and director. He was a cast member on the NBC sketch comedy series Saturday Night Live from 2005 to 2013, for which he received 4 Primetime Emmy Award nominations and a Peabody Award. He became known for his impressions and especially for his work on the Weekend Update segments, where he played Stephen, a flamboyant New York City nightclub tour guide. Hayter co-created the HBO dark comedy series Barry, 2018 to 2023, with Alec Berg, in addition to playing the title role of Barry Berkman. He also served as producer, writer, and director, for which his efforts garnered him 8 Emmy Award nominations for the series. He won 2, consecutively, for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series. 3-4 He is a star and producer of the IFC mockumentary comedy series Documentary Now. 2015 to 2022, along with Fred Armisen and Seth Meyers. He was Emmy nominated for his guest role in Curb Your Enthusiasm in 2022. In film, he took supporting roles in Hot Rod, 2007, Superbad, 2007, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, 2008, Adventureland, 2009, and the BFG, 2016, with leading roles in The Skeleton Twins, 2014, Trainwreck, 2015, and as an adult Richie Tozier in It Chapter 2, 2019. He has done extensive voice work working on the Pixar films Monsters University, 2013, Inside Out, 2015, Finding Dory, 2016, Toy Story 4, 2019, and Lightyear, 2022, as well as films such as Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, 2009, its 2013 sequel, The Angry Birds Movie, 2016, its 2019 sequel, Sausage Party, 2016, and the upcoming The Cat in the Hat, 2026. Early life and education. Hayter was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, on June 7, 1978 to the son of dance teacher Sherry Renee, née Patton, b. 1956, 5 and Air Cargo Company owner, restaurant manager, truck driver, and occasional stand-up comedian William Thomas Hayter, b. 1953. 6-7 He has 2 younger sisters, Katie and Kara. 6 His ancestry includes Danish, English, German and Irish. 1-8 He attended Patrick Henry Elementary School, Edison Junior High and Cassia Hall Preparatory School. 9-10 Hayter grew up with writer Duffy Boudreau, with whom he later collaborated. He says he had a hard time focusing in class and was always joking around. Feeling he did not fit in, Hayter filled his time watching movies and reading. He appreciated Monty Python, British comedy, and the films of Woody Allen and Mel Brooks, much of which his father showed him. 11 He made short films with friends and starred in a school production of The Glass Menagerie. 12 He was unable to gain admission to top film schools because of his abysmal grades, so he enrolled at the Art Institute of Phoenix. 13 and later Scottsdale Community College. 11 Hayter's first job was as a Christmas tree salesman. He was also an usher at a Tempe cinema, where he could see films for free, but was fired for spoiling the ending of Titanic, 1997, for unruly viewers. 14-15 at Scottsdale Community College, he met Nicholas Jasnovic, who later directed Paper Heart, 2009. 16 in May 2024, Hader gave the commencement speech for Chapman University's graduating class and received an honorary Doctor of Arts degree. 17. Career. 1999 to 2004, early career. Hader's aspirations of becoming a filmmaker eventually led him to drop out of college and move to Los Angeles in 1999. 7-11 His parents supported his decision, and let him use the money they had saved for his education for his living expenses. 12 He found work as a production assistant, PA, while scouring the back pages of The Hollywood Reporter. 18 And hoped to become an assistant director. 18 He spent much of his life as a young man lonely and underemployed and large amounts of his time watching movies. 18 He regularly worked 18-hour days as a PA, leaving little time to pursue his creative ambitions. 12 He was a PA on the documentary Empire of Dreams, the story of the Star Wars trilogy, 2004, and the feature films James Dean, 2001, Spider-Man, 2002, and Collateral Damage, 2002. 7-19 He was also a post-production assistant on the VH1 reality show The Surreal Life, 2003 to 2006. 20 He was briefly a PA and stage manager on Playboy TV's sexual fantasy show Night Calls 21, 22, 23 but soon quit as he feared it would disappoint his parents. 15 He eventually quit being a PA altogether after a bad experience while shooting The Scorpion King, 2002. 18. Hader subsequently got a job as a nighttime assistant editor at the post-production facility Triage Entertainment. 12-18 He invested money in his own short film, but was too embarrassed to release it. Shortly thereafter, he and his then longtime girlfriend broke up. 24 Desperate for a change, he began attending comedy classes with friends at improvisational comedy enterprise The Second City in March 2003. 13 He quickly realized that comedy was the creative outlet he had been looking for. 12 And soon he, his new comedy compatriot Matt Offerman, and their two friends and fellow humor enthusiasts Eric Filipkowski and Mel Cowan formed a sketch comedy group 25 which they called Animals from the Future, and performed frequently for small audiences at backyard shows in Van Nuys. 18 Matt's brother, actor Nick Offerman, told his wife, Megan Mullally, about them. 26-27 After attending one of their backyard shows, Mullally told Hader she wanted to discuss him with Lorne Michaels of Saturday Night Live, SNL. After Mullally's recommendation, Hader was invited to fly to New York to audition for SNL producers. He had no material prepared when he was invited to audition, and was nervous and struggled to display his strengths during the audition. This resulted in his spontaneous imitation of an Italian man he had once overheard. The impression later became Vinny Vidixai, the first of his many recurring characters on the show. 18 As a result of the audition, Hader got an agent and manager. 11 Just before he was invited to work on SNL, he worked as an assistant editor on Iron Chef America. 28. 2005 to 2013, Breakthrough and Saturday Night Live. Hader was a cast member on Saturday Night Live from 2005 to 2013. Hader was hired as a featured player and made his debut on the show on October 1, 2005. His first role was as a psychologist giving his views about life and death during the emergency landing of JetBlue Airways Flight 292. He felt he had gone from preschool to Harvard. 24. He became the impressions guy, hoping to fill a utility player role like his hero Phil Hartman. 18. Hader has said that he performed impersonations of teachers and friends when he was growing up but did not do impersonations of famous people until his Saturday Night Live audition. 29 His list of impressions includes Vincent Price in the Variety Vault sketches, Keith Morrison, Harvey Fierstein, Al Pacino, Rick Perry, John Malkovich, James Carville, Julian Assange, Elliot Spitzer, Alan Alda, Clint Eastwood, and Charlie Sheen. On July 19, 2012, Hader received his first nomination for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series for his work on SNL. 31 He is the first male SNL cast member to receive this nomination since Eddie Murphy in 1986. Among the characters Hader played was Stephen, Weekend Update's flamboyant New York correspondent, whose recommendations consisted solely of bizarre nightclubs involving nightmarish characters, and was in love with and married to Seth Meyers. 33 Stephen was originally a one-shot character on a season 34 sketch where a screenwriter named David Zaleski, played by Ben Affleck, invited his estranged brother Stephen over to pitch a family-friendly sports drama about a college student who bonded with his grandfather so he could try out for the college football team. 34 He was based on two people that fellow SNL writer John Mulaney and Hader met, a wannabe club owner who always invited Mulaney to weird underground clubs, and a barista Hader had met who looked, spoke, and dressed like Stephen. 35. Hader made his film debut in the comedic film You, Me, and Dupree, 2006. The following year he took numerous roles including a supporting role as Officer Slater alongside Seth Rogen's Officer Michaels in the Greg Mottola-directed Superbad, 2007. 36 His role in Superbad helped boost his public awareness and allowed him to appear on mainstream programs like Total Request Live, The Tonight Show, and MTV's Video Music Awards. Other roles that year included as Katherine Heigl's character's editor at E! In the Judd Apatow-directed comedy Knocked Up 37 the acid-taking mechanic Dave in Hot Rod alongside SNL castmate Andy Samberg 38 and a recumbent biker in The Brothers Solomon starring Will Arnett and Will Forte. 39. Hader worked as a creative consultant, producer, and voice actor on South Park, beginning in the series' 12th season. 41 His involvement in the series stems from his friendship with Matt Stone. The two held a similar sense of humor and Hader began going on writers' retreats with the staff. 12 He began working on the program hoping to learn story structure. 24 Hader is among the series producers to win the 2009 Emmy Award for Best Animated Series. 20 He also appeared on the commentary recorded for the 2009 Blu-ray edition of South Park, Bigger, Longer and Uncut, and the Comedy Central special 6 Days to Air, a documentary filmed during production of the 2011 South Park episode Human Centipede. Hader rejoined the writing staff for South Park for its 17th season. 42 Hader won a 2008 Peabody Award in political satire for his participation in Saturday Night Live. 20 He also appeared on the MTV prank series Punk'd and voiced an array of characters on the second season of the Adult Swim animated series Xavier, Renegade Angel. He also made several short films, including Back in the Day, Sounds Good to Me, Remastering the Sting, and The Jeannie Tate Show, with SNL writer Liz Kakowski and then-wife Maggie Carey. In 2008, Hader starred in, and co-wrote with Simon Rich, the web series The Line on Crackle. 43 Hader lent his voice to the audiobook of Sarah Vowell's The Wordy Shipmates. Also in 2008, Hader appeared on Tim and Eric Awesome Show impersonating the recurring character James Quall on the episode Jazz. He appeared in 2 other Apatow projects, Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Pineapple Express. He also starred alongside Ben Stiller, Robert Downey, Jr. and Tom Cruise in the action comedy Tropic Thunder. Hader re-teamed with Superbad director Greg Mottola in the comedy films Adventureland, 2009, and Paul, 2011. He lent his voice to his first video game role in Grand Theft Auto 4, which also featured his SNL castmates Jason Sudeikis and Fred Armisen. Hader and SNL castmate Seth Meyers penned a Spider-Man one-off entitled The Short Halloween. It was illustrated by Kevin McGuire and came out May 29, 2009. It was given 3.5 out of 5 stars by Benjamin Birdie of Comic Book Resources. 44. He made a small appearance in the 2009 comedy film Year One, with Jack Black and Michael Cera. Hader lent his voice to the Sony Pictures animation film Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, as well as its 2013 sequel, playing the lead role of Flint Lockwood as well as his invention in the films, the FLDSMDFR. He voiced a gazelle in Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, and appeared in the fantasy film Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian in 2009 as Major General George Armstrong Custer. In April 2009, Hader was a part of Vanity Fair's list of comedy's new legends. 45. A man with brown hair wearing a green shirt smirks as he sits at a table in front of a microphone. Hader at the 2013 San Diego Comic-Con. Hader took on the voice role of Professor Impossible on the fourth season of The Venture Brothers, 2010 to 2013, a part originated by Stephen Colbert. He voiced the Pod in the Aqua Teen Hunger Force episode I Am a Pod, as well as Hitler in the episode Der Inflatable Führer. Hader played Kevin, Matt Damon's co-pilot, in the live episode of 30 Rock, recorded October 14, 2010. He portrayed the voice in the action comedy film Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, 2010, the disembodied voice that pops up during certain moments of the film's video game-inspired fight scenes. He also had a small cameo as the voice of the USS Vengeance computer in the science fiction film Star Trek Into Darkness, 2013. From 2011 to 2014, Hader hosted Essentials, Junior on Turner Classic Movies. 46. Hader received the gig after he was a guest programmer with host Robert Osborne, who was impressed by Hader's eclectic choices, such as Billy Wilder's 1943 Five Graves to Cairo, 1943, Robert Altman's 1970 Brewster McCloud, 1970, and Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon, 1950. 47. TCM asked him if he would like to host its Summer Essentials Junior showcase that introduces younger audiences to seminal movies from the golden age of Hollywood and international cinema. He was chosen because Hader has a certain energy and appeal to younger people. He is very passionate about the subject. He isn't just reading a teleprompter. He really cares and knows the movies. 47. During the Essentials Junior program, Hader handpicked 13 films, one a week, to screen for the whole family each of those 4 years. The films he chose included Singin' in the Rain, 1952, Bringing Up Baby, 1938, The Bandwagon, 1953, and The Lavender Hill Mob, 1951, and King Kong, 1933. 48. Hader was the guest star in the series premiere of the comedy series The Mindy Project, where he played as Mindy's ex-boyfriend Tom McDougal. His character returned later in the first season. Hader voiced Dr. Malakio in the Hulu animated comedy series The Awesomes. In 2013, Hader replaced Robert Downey, Jr., as the voice of Mr. Peanut. 49. Hader decided to leave SNL after 8 seasons, informing cast and crew of his decision in February 2013. He came to the conclusion that he needed to leave when his then-wife and he were constantly having to travel to Los Angeles for work, which made it difficult for their children. 11-12. His final episode was on May 18, 2013. 50. It was a hard decision, but it has to happen at some point, he told reporters. It got to a point where I said, maybe it's just time to go. 51. On October 11, 2014, Hader returned as host with musical guest Hozier 52, and on March 17, 2018, with musical guest Arcade Fire. 2014, present, film roles and Barry. Hader starred in a dramatic role in the 2014 film The Skeleton Twins, opposite Kristen Wiig, with whom he worked on Saturday Night Live. The film won for Best Screenplay at the Sundance Film Festival. In 2015, Hader voiced the character of Fear in the Disney/Pixar film Inside Out, and was attached to voice a dinosaur in the Pixar film The Good Dinosaur. However, Hader, alongside John Lithgow, Lucas Neff, Neil Patrick Harris, and Judy Greer, left the project after their characters were redesigned. 53 In 2015, Hader appeared in Brooklyn Nine-Nine as Captain Seth Dozerman of the 99th Precinct. 54 Also in 2015, Hader reunited with fellow SNL alumni Fred Armisen and Seth Meyers for the IFC mockumentary series Documentary Now, wherein he was an actor and a writer. In December 2015, Drew McWeeny of HitFix reported that the voice of BB-8 in Star Wars: The Force Awakens was supplied by Hader and Ben Schwartz, both credited as BB-8 vocal consultants in the film. The voice was created by Abrams manipulating their voices through a talk box, attached to an iPad running a sound effects app. 55 Hader also voiced multiple characters in YouTube channel Bad Lip Readings parodies of the Star Wars original trilogy. Hader also played a minor supporting role in the Lonely Island's 2016 film Popstar, Never Stop Never Stopping, produced by Judd Apatow. 56 Hader had his first leading man role in the romantic comedy opposite Amy Schumer in Trainwreck, 2015, and continued in these romantic roles as a former college boyfriend to best friend of Greta Gerwig's title character in Maggie's Plan, 2015. Hader voiced Alpha 5 in the 2017 film version of Power Rangers. 57. In 2018, Hader co-created, with Alec Berg, and began starring in the HBO dark comedy series Barry, for which he received 8 Primetime Emmy Award nominations as producer, writer, director, and actor. He won Emmys for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series in both 2018 and 2019 and received consecutive nominations for Outstanding Comedy Series, Outstanding Directing for a Comedy Series and Outstanding Writing for a Comedy Series for its first 2 seasons. 58 In 2019, Hader starred in the supernatural horror film It Chapter 2 as Richie Tozier, sharing the role with Finn Wolfhard, alongside Jessica Chastain, Bill Skarsgård, Isaiah Mustafa, Jay Ryan, James Ransone, and James McAvoy. Hader received acclaim for his performance. 59 In 2019, he voiced Leonard in the Angry Birds Movie 2, Axel the Carney in Toy Story 4, the Wanderer in 4 episodes of The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, and played Nick Kringle in Noelle. 60. In June 2023, Hader was invited to become a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. 61 That same year he had a cameo role as a UPS driver in the Ari Aster-directed surrealist tragicomedy Beau is Afraid, 2023, starring Joaquin Phoenix. Aster said of his casting, "We're friends. I was looking for a place to put him and that felt like the funniest, the most effective possible place. I love his performance in the film. It's a covered performance. A lot of people don't know that's him on the phone when they first see it. But it's a great performance." 62. In March 2024, it was announced that Hader will star in the upcoming animated remake of the Dr. Seuss children's book The Cat in the Hat, in which he will voice the titular character and serve as an executive producer. The film will also star Quinta Brunson, Xochitl Gomez, and Bowen Yang. 63 Hader and Mindy Kaling did not return to voice their roles as Fear and Disgust in Inside Out 2 reportedly due to pay disputes. Tony Hale and Liza Lapera replaced Hader and Kaling in taking over their respective roles. 64. On February 14, 2025, Hader declined an invitation to appear on the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special due to scheduling conflicts. 65. Influences. Hader has said that his comedy influences included Woody Allen's 66, 67, 68, Monty Python, Alan Alda, Mel Brooks, and Eddie Murphy. 14. Personal life. Marriage and relationships. Hader married writer and director Maggie Carey in 2006. 69 They have 3 daughters. 70-71 They divorced in 2018. 72 Hader later dated actress Rachel Bilson, with whom he had co-starred in The To-Do List, written and directed by Carey. 73-74 and actress Anna Kendrick. 75-76 Since late 2022, he has been in an on and off relationship with comedian and actress Ali Wong. 77 In April 2025, Hader discussed how Wong comforted him and helped him buy new jeans after the January 2025 Southern California wildfires made his home unlivable. 78. Interests. Hader is an avid reader who has said that he didn't really go to college, which is probably why he enjoys reading the classics. He named works by Tobias Wolff, Fyodor Dostoevsky, William Faulkner, Richard Ford, George Saunders, and Junichiro Tanizaki as influences. 79 He is a fan of the Chicago Cubs. He is also an avid cinephile, enjoying films of the golden age of Hollywood as well as films directed by the Coen brothers, Stanley Kubrick, and Akira Kurosawa. 80. Health issues. Hader has an anxiety disorder. 81 During his tenure on Saturday Night Live, he had anxiety and sleep problems. 11 He never felt truly comfortable during his first 4 seasons. 18 He worried that he had less comedy experience than his peers, would often not sleep on Fridays before the show, and felt lightheaded before broadcasts. 11 He was neurotic about his performances, and he called his early appearances rigid. 18. During the final show of 2010, he began having a panic attack, live on air, while impersonating Julian Assange. He recalled, "It felt like someone was sitting on my chest. I couldn't breathe, I started sweating. I thought, this is not good, abort. Abort." 18 Lorne Michaels tried to put him at ease after the incident by telling him, "You can work here as long as you want." 18. Hader is prone to migraines. 81-82 He also has a severe peanut allergy. The BFG, titled on screen as Roald Dahl's The BFG Big Friendly Giant, is a 2016 fantasy adventure film directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Melissa Matheson, and based on the 1982 novel. The film stars Mark Rylance, Ruby Barnhill, Penelope Wilton, Jemaine Clement, Rebecca Hall, Rafe Spall, and Bill Hader. In the film, a 10-year-old orphaned girl named Sophie befriends a benevolent giant and helps him to deal with some man-eating giants. Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall began development on a live-action adaptation of the BFG in the 1990s, and various screenwriters were hired to work on the screenplay in the subsequent years. DreamWorks acquired the screen rights to Dahl's book in September 2011, and Spielberg was announced as director in April 2014. Principal photography commenced in March 2015. The BFG premiered at the Cannes Film Festival on May 14, 2016, and debuted in North America at the El Capitan Theater on June 21, 2016. The film was released in the United States on July 1, 2016, the same year of Dahl's centennial. It received generally positive reviews from critics, and was a box office disappointment, grossing $195 million against its $140 million budget. It was the last film penned by Matheson before her death in 2015, and was dedicated to her. Plot. One night, Sophie, a smart and brave 10-year-old girl living in a London orphanage, catches sight of an elderly giant. The giant captures her and takes her to his residence in Giant Country. He tells Sophie that he took her so that she would never reveal the existence of giants to anyone. The giant creates a nightmare to prevent her from escaping, fearing she might be eaten by larger giants. The next morning, Sophie is nearly discovered by Fleshlampeter, the leader of the man-eating giants, but the elderly giant drives Fleshlampeter away with a foul vegetable known as the snozcumber. She persuades the elderly giant to take her to Dream Country. They accidentally awaken the other giants, and after Blood Bottler suggests they frolic, they bully the friendly giant. A thunderstorm drives the man-eating giants into their cave, but Fleshlampeter finds Sophie's blanket. In Dream Country, Sophie and the friendly giant catch good and bad dreams. The giant reveals that his only name, besides Runt, the other giant's nickname for him, is the Big Friendly Giant, which leads Sophie to call him BFG. She accompanies him to London for his nightly work, using his dream trumpet to spread good dreams to sleeping children. They return to giant country just as the other giants have departed to go eat children worldwide. The BFG realizes that Sophie has lost her blanket, exposing her presence to the other giants, and leaves her outside her orphanage. Revealing that his last human companion liked to read, and even taught the BFG how to read, but sadly was discovered and eaten by the giants, he is unwilling to endanger Sophie and departs. Unafraid, Sophie jumps off her balcony hoping he will appear again to catch her, and he does. They return to the BFG's workshop and the other giants barge in, hunting for Sophie. They destroy much of the BFG's work, but Sophie evades detection and the BFG drives them off with a hot iron. Sophie finds the home of the last human to live with the BFG, with a portrait of Queen Victoria among his belongings. This inspires her to devise a plan, to forge a nightmare for Elizabeth II, the Queen of the United Kingdom, about giants eating the children of England, the British Army fighting the giants, and Sophie appearing to her. Sophie and the BFG go to Buckingham Palace and deliver the nightmare to the sleeping Queen. Upon waking, the Queen and members of her maid Mary and butler Mr. Tibbs find Sophie on the windowsill. She introduces them to the BFG, explaining that the child-eating giants are real and must be stopped. At a large breakfast, the BFG shares his favorite drink, flatulence-inducing frubskittle, and he and Sophie lead the Queen's soldiers to giant country. The BFG plans to ambush the man-eating giants with a nightmare but has forgotten his dream trumpet. Sophie carries the nightmare herself into the midst of the giants and is confronted by Fleshlampeter. She releases the nightmare, which consumes the giants with guilt, except the Fleshlampeter, who intercepts and destroys his, and they are caught by military helicopters. Carried away to an isolated island, the giants are left with only snozcumber seeds to plant. Sophie gets adopted by Mary, comes to live in the Queen's palace, and awakens from a dream of the BFG, who returns to his life in giant country and writes the story of their adventure. She speaks to him whenever she feels lonely. At his home, the BFG hears her words and smiles. Cast: Mark Rylance as the voice and motion capture of Big Friendly Giant, BFG, an elderly, benevolent 24-foot giant. He is called Runt by the other giants. 9. Ruby Barnhill as Sophie, an orphan who befriends the BFG. 10. Dahl named her after his own mother, who was similarly caring and determined. Lucia Ryan serves as Sophie's understudy in some scenes. Penelope Wilton as Queen Elizabeth II, the Queen of the United Kingdom. 11. Jemaine Clement as the voice and motion capture of Fleshlampeter, a 54-foot giant who is the de facto leader of the man-eating giants who wears a cape and a skirt-like covering. He shows no regret for consuming children over the years. 11. Rebecca Hall as Mary, Queen Elizabeth's maid and Sophie's adoptive mother. 11. Rafe Spall as Mr. Tibbs, Queen Elizabeth's butler. 12. Bill Hader as the voice and motion capture of Blood Bottler, a disheveled 43-foot man-eating giant with cowlick hair and a skirt-like covering who is Fleshlampeter's advisor and the most intelligent of the group. 13. Michael Adam Thwaite as the voice and motion capture of Butcher Boy, a chubby, immature man-eating giant who is the youngest of the group. He collects cars and wears clothes made of circus tents. 11. A Danish driver. Daniel Bacon as the voice and motion capture of Bone Cruncher, a dark-skinned, bald-headed man-eating giant wearing short pants-like clothing and a necklace of metal items. As the name suggests, he loves to crunch on the bones of his victims like candy. It's said he can be heard crunching bones for miles. 11. The second drunken lout that Sophie shouts at. Chris Gibbs as the voice and motion capture of Gizzard Gulper, a burly, bearded 39-foot man-eating giant who wears a helmet, a shoulder pad, and pants and is the shortest of the group. 11. A late night walker. Adam Godley as the voice and motion capture of Manhugger, a very tall and slim man-eating giant who wears a vest and shorts. He seems to be the laziest of them all. 11. The first drunken lout that Sophie shouts at. Paul Moniz de SAS. The voice and motion capture of Meat Dripper, a well-groomed man-eating giant with red mohawk hair. He also is the most serious about hunting in the group, clearly more determined than the rest to find Sophie. He doesn't wear a shirt and has red shorts. 11. The third drunken lout that Sophie shouts at. Jonathan Holmes as. The voice and motion capture of Child Chewer, a balding man-eating giant in a goatee who is Meat Dripper's best friend who wears a skirt-like covering. He obviously enjoys human child the most out of the giants. 11. A pub landlord. Olafur Dari Olafsson as. The voice and motion capture of Maid Masher, a small-headed and fashionable man-eating giant. He has short thin hair, and as the name suggests, likes to mash maidens, which is never expanded on. 11. Queen Elizabeth II's cook. Marilyn Norrie as Mrs. Clonkers, the head of the orphanage where Sophie was living. Callum C. Graham Early as a Danish boy. Haig Sutherland as the Danish boy's father. Shauna Hansen as the Danish boy's mother. Denise Jones as the wife of the Danish driver. Anthony F. Ingram as a Buckingham Palace footman. Gabrielle Rose as a female cook that works for Queen Elizabeth II. Matt Frewer, Chris Shields, and Jeffrey Wade as the Queen's generals. John Emmett Tracy, William Samples, Andy Thompson, and Ruby Barnhill's father Paul Barnhill as the assorted Buckingham Palace footman. Lucia Ryan as Orphan Girl No. 1. Julia Torrance as Orphan Girl No. 2. Cal Davis, Kyle Maloney, Michael McLeod, David Orr, Zachary Red, David Glover, and Joshua Collegan as the Pipers. Todd Bifford as the Piper drummer. Randy Rafusi as a helicopter pilot. Production. Development. Producers Frank Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy began development on a live-action adaptation of the BFG in 1991, and set the project up at Paramount Pictures. 14 husband and wife screenwriters Robin Swickard and Nicholas Kazan wrote a screenplay adaptation in 1998, with Robin Williams in negotiations for the title role. 15-16-17 Williams attended a read-through, which according to Michael Siegel was surprisingly disappointing. 18 Williams' trademark improvisational style clashed with the BFG's unique language. 18 Siegel elaborates, he was sort of improvising on the jumbled language. And it was clunky. It was strangely not working. It was harder than it looks even for Robin. It didn't quite deliver. 18. By 2001, the script had been rewritten by Gwyn Lurie, and was greeted with positive feedback from the Dahl estate. 19 Terry Jones and Ed Solomon also attempted screenplay drafts. 18 While the screenplay lingered in development hell, Paramount subsequently lost the film rights and they reverted to the Dahl estate. 18. In September 2011, DreamWorks 20 acquired the film rights to the book. Kennedy and Marshall were announced to produce, with screenwriter Melissa Matheson adapting the story. 20 Initially, John Madden was hired to direct. However, in April 2014, Steven Spielberg 21 was announced as the director, with Madden now listed as executive producer with producer Michael Siegel. 22 Kennedy had initially thought of Spielberg as director, but hesitated asking him until a more concrete screenplay was presentable. 23 Spielberg stated, "The BFG has enchanted families and their children for more than 3 decades. We are honored that the Roald Dahl estate has entrusted us with this classic story."